Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome along to my walk through the forest today. Absolutely stunning day here in Suffolk in the UK. I'm out in a t-shirt and shorts. Beautiful. I hope today is as wonderful where you are as it is here. Welcome along. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, you've come on the right day, because today, the subject of today's talk will probably make a profound difference in how you view the world. Well, I hope it does, because that's what I'm aiming for. For those returning guests, welcome back. Wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Really appreciate it, and it helps me ever so much when you do. So if you like what I'm doing, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications bell so you know when I've posted a new video. So all that said, welcome along. Today's topic, well, before we go there, let's give you a quick recap on where we've been, what this is all about, and what I aim to do. So if you've been with me any period of time on this journey, you would know my fondness for the movie The Matrix. That will feature in today's talk as well. But all the talks that I've done up until now, the subjects are quite varied, but I believe that they're all linked together. And you know, it's about money, the players in the game, how they all fit together, who they are, how they fit together, and what their purpose is. And today, I think, with the subject matter for today, it's definitely the next step along in the series, and it touches on and explains what I see to be the Great Awakening and what that means, and in law, in legal terms. One of my favourite subjects. I'm not a lawyer. I don't read law. I don't pretend to know it. But today I think you'll have an understanding as to why I'm doing what I'm doing. So today's subject matter is law. Common law, which we would know as the laws of the land, we know, and natural law. What's the difference? How do they apply to you? What does it all mean? So, common law is the laws that we understand to be the laws of the land. So things that case law has agreed, the interpretation of those laws through cases that have been adjudicated. Does that make sense? So when a case goes to court, before court, then a legal precedent is set based on those cases, the interpretation of the law based on those cases that have been tried. Okay? You with me? Okay. Natural law is things like the Ten Commandments, let's say. You know, for those of you who are religious based, know what the Ten Commandments are. Things like thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, you know, those kind of things. Now, most of us don't know most of the laws that we live under. But at the same time, we're born with an inherent knowing of right and wrong. And right and wrong governs those natural laws, if you like. So things like thou shalt not kill, you know, we all know it's wrong to kill, you know, it's wrong and right here. It's not there's no grey areas, it's wrong and right. But our common laws, the laws that we live under in the laws of the land, interpret it slightly different. So you're not allowed to kill except in different circumstances. Okay, so if, let's just say, for instance, if you're at war, then you're allowed to kill someone else. Okay, if somebody's committed a crime and a judge has deemed that they need to die, then that's okay to kill them as well. Now, what's the law we should live by? I mean, really, we all know there's certain things that we inherently know from when we're children. What's right and wrong? What's fair? The fairness is the laws that really govern us, the natural laws of this world that we inhabit, this reality that we inhabit. And it's reality that I'm going to take apart for you today. And that's why it sort of feeds into the Matrix. Now, let's go back sometime. Who knows how much time, because time is relative, of course. So let's go back in time, and people were here first, okay? We were people. Let's just say we go back and say we were cavemen. Let's just go back to then, okay? Because that's what we're told happened in the past, of course. Now, back in those days, before we had language, people would communicate in simple ways. But then we invented language. We invented that. We're pretty smart, obviously. We invented language. We invented a way to communicate. So we made it up. Every country and culture in the world has their own made-up language that they made up. And that all these words are open to interpretation, which is where you have problems, because the legal interpretation of those words differs depending on who you are, where you are. You know, the legal interpretation is different wherever you go, as far as the courts are concerned. Okay, so like I say, we all know that there's certain natural laws that we all agree, the fairness of them, you shouldn't kill someone. We all agree on that, except in extenuating circumstances, and it's okay to kill someone. But we made up this language. We made it up. It's a fiction. The language is a fiction. Okay, so then you had some people who recognized that this is a fiction, this language is a fiction, and we then went and we created other fictions that we told ourselves was who we are. Now, if I ask you who you are, you would tell me I'm a receptionist, or I'm a chef, or we define ourselves by our job, which is another fiction, because like anything, we made that up. So you could, if you wanted to, be whatever you wanted to be tomorrow. So today I'm a chef for a job, but is that who I am? Who am I in this whole scheme of this made up fiction that we're living with? So we make up these roles, these jobs, these things that we fit, where we try to fit into our understanding of who we are. And we define ourselves by these made up things, these fictions, right? So first it was a fiction of words, we made them up, okay? It's a fiction. Then we make up these fictions about who we are based on what we do, our job, or we're a housewife or a house husband, or whatever it is that you define yourself as. It's not who you are, that's what you do, which is the job that you do. Now we have some people who recognized the fiction of words and the ability to use those fictional words that we made up to create a control mechanism of more fiction that we call government or governance. Okay, so we the people have created fictional words that we made them up. It's fiction. Then we created fictional governments. Okay, so we created that. So the government is a fiction. We made it up. It's from our imagination. We made up the government. We've got other people, these imaginary jobs that we've made up, who are lawyers, right? And they use these imaginary words, right, to create fictional laws that we all live under. And the government that we made up also is there to enforce that. So if you imagine that we are the people, you, the person, not the job, you, the person, we made up these fictional words, these fictional laws, these fictional government, and now we're allowing the fiction to control us. Okay? So we are literally living in our own creation, this created fiction that we live under, and we're letting that fiction control us. It's like writing a book, and then after you've written the book, that you allow the book to tell you how to live your life. Does it make sense? And it's a system of governance. Now, if you understand that people recognize this, that smart people recognize this, and they're using this as a control mechanism of we, the people. So, who owns the world? Who owns the world? That's the question we need to ask first. Who owns the world, and why are we purchasing things from an owner? Who did they originally buy it from? So this isn't a bash on religion or Christianity or anything like that, but you need to understand the bigger picture of what I'm talking about here. Now, there's two gentlemen, Russell J. Gould and David Wynn Miller. Now, they recognized the fiction of language. They recognized the fiction of contracts. They recognized the fiction of this governance system that we live under. And they worked on something called quantum language or quantum grammar, which is If you understand how the wording, the fictional words are put together, you have prefixes and suffixes. Now, sometimes when you had a prefix or a suffix, it is the exact opposite of the word that you're putting the prefix on. So by using the language, it sounds like you mean one thing, but it actually means the exact opposite. Are you following me so far? Now, I'm not even going to try and explain what David Wynn Miller and Russell J. Gould did. You should go and look for yourself. Quantum language. Russell J. Gould, David Wynn Miller. Now, back in 1999, they found this, and they recognised the fiction of the language. They recognised the fiction of the contracts and the documents and who owned what. And it was that the Vatican owned the world, because the Vatican was God's representative here on earth. Now, whether you realise it or not, you're living under a governance of a God system, even if you don't believe in God. Now, this whole idea of God, in this way, when I mention God during this talk, you can implant whatever other made-up word that you want to put in that place. Whether you believe in Allah, whether you believe in universal consciousness, whether you believe in science, because that's a religion. You can put in whatever word you want. Consciousness, God, universe, Allah, whatever word you want to use in place of God. I'm going to use God because it's easiest. So the world was created, okay, and this God that created it, his representative here on earth, being the Roman Catholic Church, owns the earth and everything on it, including you and me. Now, when I talk about these two gentlemen, David Wynn Miller and Russell J. Gould, they recognised the contract law that had the Vatican ownership of everything. They recognised the fiction in the contracts of the wording, rewrote the contracts to free. Well, firstly, they're American, so they freed America from that fictional contract. But we're all still living under these fictional contracts. From the moment we're born, you have your birth certificate, right? Your birth certificate doesn't represent you. It represents a corporation. You're a chattel to the nation that you're born in. Now, when this is where it gets quite complex, and I'm not even going to try and go down the path because it really is complex, and I won't do it justice. So go and please do some research. Now, when you have a look at the wherever country you're in, you'll find that those countries have a constitution. In America, it's called the Constitution. Here in the UK, it was Magna Carta, and each country has their own constitution that basically lays out your rights as an individual, as a person. Personhood. Your personhood is governed by you, and those rights that you have as a person are not given to you by a fictional government. They're given to you by God. It's natural that you're a sovereign being, that you have sovereign rights over yourself. You are the sole owner of you, your body, and yourself. So we're going through this process at the moment of coming to a deeper understanding of the fiction that we've been living in our entire lives. And this has gone on for centuries. It's not just now, it's forever. For our understanding of the fictional state that we've been living in, and the fictional laws under a fictional government that we made up. We made it all up. It's all just a fiction. We have literally been living in a dream world. When you talk about the Matrix, and the Matrix is, you're a prisoner. You are a prisoner. You're a prisoner from the moment you're born. When your birth certificate is not you anymore. You are. What do you think a country's GDP is? Gross domestic product. It is the amount that each person can earn and contribute to the state. So you are the product. It's got nothing to do with grain and coal and whatever you dig out of the ground. It's the people. You are the product. You are the product of the contract. So when you go before a judge and the judge says, "Do you understand?" If you have a look at that sentence structure, those words that we made up, do you stand under me? Do you? Do you stand under anybody? Does anybody rule over you? Who is this guy? Oh yes, he went to school for 10 years and he understands the fiction of the law, the league, the words. He understands that it's all made up. And you don't, which means you're a slave to whatever they tell you, which is evidenced by what's happening right now. Here we are in the UK, locked down again, the third time. I've hardly worked for the whole year. But that's okay, because a fictional body, the government, using fictional words to write fictional laws, governs what I can do and how I can do it. So what is the Great Awakening? It is coming to an understanding that we've been living in this fiction. Go and grab some money out of your wallet and pull out a $10 note, £10 note, wherever you are in the world, whatever your currency is, pull out a note. What is that worth? What is it worth? Well, if it says $10 on it or £10, it's worth 10. But who governs that? Who says it is? Oh, that's the made-up government using made-up words, made-up laws to tell you that thing, and that then your hand represents value when it represents no value because you can't do anything with it. It is based on trust in fiction. It's like saying, okay, I'm a world expert on Harry Potter. What does that mean? Nothing. It's all based on trust and the trust in the fiction, the falsehood of the fiction that we've made up. We're living literally in a made up world that we made up, that we don't understand the rules because the language has been manipulated to manipulate us. How's that? Is that crazy? So the Great Awakening, waking up to all this, is coming to an understanding that we are living in this made up world. We're living in the dream world. We're living in a fiction. And we're all coming to an understanding through the exposure of every system that we've always come to trust. Trust in politics has been completely eroded because of the falsehoods that they've been telling. The lies, the propaganda, more and more people see it every day. Our faith, and that's what it is, in the financial markets, in the money that we use. Our faith it's all based on faith in a fiction that we made up. So what happens when that faith is lost in all those systems? People wake up and realize, what the fuck did I believe in? The faith is based on nothing. I'm not talking about religion, I'm talking about the systems that we live under. And religion is much the same. It is used as a fictional story to govern us. Now, that's not to, I don't want to take away from when you walk around and you're in places like this, and it's beautiful. You can't just look here and just go, oh, the world's just happenstance. It just happened to be that way. It's just popped into existence from nowhere. I can't explain it. Our working theory, our fiction that we've come up with to our observable, I love this as well, our observable results, science, the religion, our observable observations have told us that based on these rules, this is how reality works. So now that we've sort of covered the basics of this fiction, and this lie that we live in, this fiction that we allow to govern us every day, as we start to lose faith in these systems, and we start to lose faith in the lies and the fictions that we've been told, what's the next steps? What can we do? Because we are obviously still living in this fiction. Most people are so caught up in the fiction that they refuse to let go of it. They can't let go of it because it defines who they are. People define their entire life about their job, about how much money they have, about whether they've got all their teeth. I had a friend of mine say the other day, oh, your videos are great, but you really need to get that tooth fixed. And I said, oh, that'd be great if I could see a dentist, but obviously I can't because, well, it's too dangerous because COVID. Another fiction. So we've gotten to a point now where people are losing faith in all these fictions that we've believed in all of our lives. And we have to find a way that we can move past the fiction and look at the reality of the world, the reality. Okay, I love that. Now, when we come to money, and I've talked about this before, gold, precious metals, have always been used as a form of currency in this world. Why do you think that is? Or because it's a bright, shiny thing? Yeah, maybe. It does look pretty, But does it have any utility? Does it have any realness to it? What can you do with gold? Why would it be considered to be precious? Is the paper in your hand, is that worth anything? Can you do anything with it? If there's no faith in that, is it worth anything? No, of course it's not. Is gold worth anything? Can you do something with gold? Of course you can. You can break it down into ever smaller pieces. You can use it in electronics, in speakers, and you can never, ever destroy gold. It doesn't matter what you do to it. You can heat it up, you can cool it down. It doesn't matter what you do to gold. You can't destroy it. And it has amazing properties that are good for things that we use in our society, like electronics, and obviously it's expensive. So what about silver? Silver's the same. It is in our world, in the products that we create, in our phones, batteries, what have we got? Electric cars, solar panels, those things that everybody's talking about now, because we have to move from our fictional world of oil control. What is all that good for? If you look at the things that are real, like gold, silver, for instance, they have real utility in the world. They actually do something for us. We can do something with it. So this is where we are. We've got that inflection point of, okay, we see the fiction now. You're awake? Woohoo! This is the Great Awakening, is coming to terms with the fact that we've been lied to, and then making some changes to say, okay, we now understand that we've been living in a dream world. We've been living in a fiction that was controlled by people who understood the words and the fiction that created for us. Now there are courts, common law courts, where you can go and define yourself as a sovereign being. You are not defined by the birth certificate that it creates the corporation for you. You are your own person. You get to decide who you are. And it's not about the job that you do. It's about the utility that you have, the value that you bring to this world. And we each have something that is unique and different, and we each bring something. Now, we go through these periods in our lives where we get down and we're upset, and people, are really depressed and suicidal right now because they don't think they have any value. We don't get to see our friends. So when you have friendship relationships, you're adding value to that relationship. And we each have something to contribute, and it is important. Each of us has a role to play here. Like in the Matrix, we're all here to do what we're all here to do. But what are you here to do? What utility do you bring? Do you bring your heart and your love that you are there to support people? What is it that you do? Are you making the world better through being here? And if not, if you don't think that you are, how can you? And that's an understanding that you need to come to of yourself. What you have, what's unique about you, and what can you bring? Maybe you're just a really warped, hilarious person that brings something really, unique and different to your friendship relationships, where you bring laughter and joy to the world. Now, I've said before, a few years ago, I went and did ayahuasca, and it profoundly changed my worldview. I had to go. My wife made me go because I was being a prick. I was in a troubled place in my life. I was not in a good place mentally, and that was reflected in my relationship at home. So she made me go. Now, as part of that experience, this is going to sound pretty kooky, but as part of that experience, I had a woman's voice talking to me in my head and answering questions. Now, people will say, well, that's just a representation of your deeper subconscious talking to you, and you're talking to yourself. And, I would beg to differ. Maybe that is right. But until you've had such a profound experience as I did, when I had this experience, when I had this feedback, that was one of the realest things I've ever experienced in a completely unreal mental environment that I was in. I mean, it was completely, I was so far removed from any kind of reality that we experience as reality. And I saw things that I've never seen before. Now, when it comes to sight and our understanding of seeing things, the spectrum of light that we can interpret as the reality that we experience is so small that we miss out on most of what the world has to offer. You know, there's infrared light, there's different bandwidths, sound as well. We now Tesla was saying that vibration. There's three things, I can never bloody remember them. I'll try and get to another video. We'll come back to Tesla because Tesla's amazing. But we don't experience not even a quarter of what's the light spectrum and the sound spectrum of the reality that we inhabit. So to write off and say something, well, that's not real, when we don't experience most of what happens in this place that we call reality. But this experience of doing ayahuasca really opened myself up to the lies that we've been living in, to this unreality, this fiction that we've all been living in, that's based on words that we made up and rules that we made up by governments that we made up and jobs that we made up. Now, I asked the question when I had this experience, I said, what should I do? What am I supposed to do in this world? You know, I've been a chef for 33 years for my job. You know, that's my job. I've tried different things as well. I sold houses. I loved it. I've done so many different jobs in my life, but I wanted to add value. What am I here for? What should I be doing with my life? And this voice, I don't know how to describe it. This voice said to me, be the beacon. Be a beacon for other people. So be a voice, be out there and share your voice, share your passion, share your intellect and your understanding, and share all those things. Be you. Get out into the world and share that with people, because that's going to benefit the world with what you're doing. Your actions, the way that you speak, the way that you interact with people. Do and be that. And that's why I decided to do what I'm doing this channel. This is my contribution, for better or worse. It's how I see the world, and I want to contribute something, and I want to be of benefit to the world, and this is how I'm doing it. I hope that I bring benefit to the world. I hope I'm bringing some kind of understanding and help to people to see the fiction that we've been living in through the way that I see the world. Now, am I interpreting it correctly? That's not for me to decide. It's, we all interpret things a different way. And if this information, the way that I present things, resonates with you, then I'm doing something right. And another friend of mine said to me the other day, do what you do, be who you are, and do and be that thing, and you'll attract an audience. The people that see your benefit to the world will come to you. They will be your audience and feed back with you, and you'll create something in the world that will benefit everything and everyone. That's what I'm trying to do. And I'm hoping I'm succeeding. So the message that comes out of all this is, what utility does realness have? So if we say that gold you can utilize gold for practical purposes, what utility are you bringing? Forget about the money for a moment, because look, I'm not trying to make money out of doing this channel. It's never been my intention. It's not about the money. If you're looking to send me money, don't. Go and invest it in yourself. Go and invest it in other things like gold and silver, things that bring utility to the world, that actually have utility. If you like what I'm doing, then I've already said, just to like what I'm doing. That's all I ask. I respect, and I'm honoured by the fact that people would spend time with me and spend time on my channel and give me feedback. It always helps me to move forward and helps me to bring that message forward, and helps me to bring real utility to the world. Utility. So if you want to change the world, and we all do, we want to change the world for the better, be the change that you want to bring. Understand that all this is a fiction. And when you understand the fiction that we've been living under, the government is a fiction that we made up, then it has no control over you anymore. And you can go about your day, put a smile on your face, walk in beautiful nature, get some fresh air, look after yourselves and look after each other, because that's all we can do. All right, I hope you like what I did today. I really enjoyed doing this, and I will enjoy doing some more videos in the future. So thank you very much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you sometime soon. Take care of each other, take care of yourself, and love you lots. Take care. Bye.